Part of the Solution podcast, hosted by me, Natalie Damiano. Join me for a discussion on all things health, wellness, fitness, parenting, and more, all with a healthy dose of humor. Okay, you guys, welcome to Part of the Solution podcast. I've got a new friend, Claude, here with me today. Thank you so much for coming. I know what you do. For people who don't know what you do, why don't you tell me a little bit about the services you offer, who you are, and just kind of break it down for everybody?
Sure. So my name's Claude, and I am a retired professional backup dancer of 18 years. And in 2020, I had my son in January, and then COVID hit, which turned off the entire entertainment industry. And I suffered from really bad postpartum depression and anxiety and suicidal ideation after having my son. And so for that whole year of being trapped in the house, I just kept asking, I needed to find something to do. I need to find something to do. I need to find something to do. And in January of 2021, a network marketing company opportunity fell into my lap. I had no idea what it was. Mm-hmm. I had seen my friends from high school, do this Lime Life business thing, which was the company that I joined. I was like, I think I can get up, wash my face again after a year of not washing my face or putting makeup on. And I did. And the response I got from all the women, and I told them, I went live one day and I said, listen, I'm doing this from home because I'm having really awful time with postpartum depression. And I think this will give me something to do and somewhere to put my mind. And that's exactly what it did. It gave me purpose. So for a year and a half, I did that. And in that year and a half, I had gained 35 pounds after having my son, almost 40. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, which is very common for women after they have their babies, which we can talk about too, if you'd like, why that is. And in that year and a half, I was searching for an answer. I went to doctors who looked at me and they're like, you're subclinical, your numbers aren't bad enough to put you on medication. There's unfortunately nothing you can do. It's genetic and it's there and that's it. And I refused to accept that as an answer. So I found functional nutrition and lost 35 pounds, reversed my autoimmune disease. And now my clients who were buying skincare and makeup from me are asking me wow, Claude, you look amazing. And I'm sharing my story and they're like, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you do it? So I was at first sending them all to my functional nutritionist. And then one day I heard this man, Wes Watson, speak on stage. And he said, if you have overcome a problem, it's your job to now help others do the same.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh gosh, now this other light turned on and it was I have to become an online coach. So for the last year and a half, I have been helping women lose weight, balance their hormones, reverse chronic illness, mainly moms who struggled the same way that I did. Yeah. And yeah, I got certified in functional nutrition so that I could really serve women the right way. And here I am.
Wow. What a story. What does functional nutrition mean? What's the definition of that?
I don't know if there's a definition of functional, meaning we need to get the body functioning again. So it basically means we get to the root cause of your issues. So when you go to the doctor and you say, I'm having hot flashes, mood swings, I can't sleep, they're going to be like, oh, here's birth control.
Yeah.
Oh, here's this medicine. So they're treating the symptom. Yeah. With functional nutrition, we address the root cause. The way I like to explain it is if your garden has weeds in it, doctors will pluck the weeds out. But then your weeds will keep growing because the soil is still messed up. I address the soil. We clean up the soil so that the weeds never come back.
Gotcha. And let's kind of dig into your side of the autoimmune and that postpartum issue. And one thing that came up for me was, were you like that before? Had you ever experienced depression or not wanting to get out of bed or any of that? And did that just hit you in the face? Whoa, this isn't me. What the fuck?
Yes, that last one. I had a pretty very happy, joyful, life. I always went after my dreams. Like I moved to LA at the age of 20 by myself to pursue a dance career
Okay.
and made a living doing that, paying my bills for 18 years. And it was so unstable, Natalie, like the most unstable life ever. But I always just loved it. I loved life. And so at 38, I decide, oh, okay, I'm going to have a baby. Because most dancers, you live out your dance life and you don't have kids till later.
Gotcha.
And so at 38, gave birth at home on my bed, no drugs. And 3 days later, just this truck of anxiety and depression just hit me out of nowhere. And I just had no idea why, where, who am I, what's going on.
Oh my God. That had to have been so uncomfortable and so shocking to just
Shocking.
be out of your body like that or be out of your system. I couldn't.
Yeah. It's just, you can't describe it. Like every time I talk about it, it's like I can never really get across the feeling of how defeated I felt, how trapped I felt in my own head. Like there was nowhere I could go, nothing I could do to get rid of the feeling. I
Mhm.
was just constantly mourning my old life. Like I just wanted my time, my space, my freedom. I wanted to be able to just cuddle with my husband and sleep when I wanted to, and I couldn't. And, not all women experience that, but Claude, as I knew her, was like, goodbye, can't be her anymore.
Yeah. Is she back?
I mean,
But like the 2.0 version, like the more badass version?
definitely like we're at version 4.0 by now. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll keep evolving and changing, especially women like you and I, where we're just constantly wanting to grow. Like the foundation is to like give away what you have and like be of service now, but I constantly want to get better and learn and then on
Yes.
to the next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I do always say that postpartum in the moment when I was living it, it was like I was very in victim mode about it. Like, why is
Yeah.
this happening to me? But now I see it was my biggest gift because I would have never, ever, ever I would never be here if it weren't for that.
Yeah. It was the rock bottom you needed.
Yeah.
I love rock bottoms.
Ooh.
Fucked up as they are, and I have been there. Like there's nowhere else to go but up. And
Yeah.
like you're just on a rocket ship up that way. I just,
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
That's so exciting. Okay, so tell me a little bit about the Hashimoto's diagnosis and kind of how that helps, jumpstart this.
So a lot of people follow me and know me because I was on a beach body workout. I was the cast of a beach body workout called 21 Day Fix Real Time with Autumn Calabrese.
Gotcha.
And, I lost like 13 pounds in 8 weeks doing that. So after I had Nova, like I'm going through this, but Autumn had asked us to be part of the like the test group for her new workout, 9-week control freak. And I'm sitting there, I'm doing everything I did before, containers. I'm measuring all my food. I'm working out every day. And I just cannot lose weight. Like I would lose like a little bit, but I was still puffy and I'm like, something's not right. So I went to get blood work done. And that's when the doctor told me you have Hashimoto's. And the way to know that is your anti-TPO numbers in your thyroid panel will tell you if you have Hashimoto's.
And did you have to ask for that test?
So thankfully, I went to like an integrative or whatever they're called. Not, you know what I'm talking about? It was like holistic.
Yeah, an integrative practitioner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to ask. I didn't even know. He said that word and I said, I'm sorry, I have what? I didn't even know what autoimmune was.
Gotcha.
Like I have been this big my whole life and eaten whatever I want, which is the problem. And never, yeah, like, what do you mean gut autoimmune disease? I'm sorry, who? And so that began like when he first told me, he put me on NP thyroid at the time, but he failed to tell me that when you start NP thyroid, it can make you feel a little crazy. So I took it for 5 days and I was like, oh no, I'm not taking this. It's making me feel worse. And I threw it away. And then I tried like going vegan and like running 3 miles a day and putting on a full sweatsuit while running in the heat. And the problem is if you overdo it, you're like, messing up your thyroid, everything. So, I just something kept telling me like, ask a nutritionist. So I found a nutritionist here in Vegas and she helped a little bit. She had like one piece to the puzzle that we need. And I was still not like losing weight. And then I found this other woman, Rachel Shear, who saved my life. And she was like, well, what's going on? Because I saw her in a bikini on the beach. Okay. And I was like, I need that butt. I used to have a butt like that. Where is that butt?
Yeah.
I refuse to be like, oh, I'm a mom now. So I have like this unfit body. No, absolutely not. Like I refuse. And so I talked to her and she's like, I'm not a trainer. I'm actually a functional nutritionist. I said, oh, and
So
she told
did
me
you
what.
just walk up to her and you were like, hello, I need this?
Yeah. I mean, hey, Bear, Bear, can you go hang out with Abby? Thank you. He won't nap either. Hold on a second. I asked her if she was a trainer because she had the body of a trainer. And I'm like, okay, right now I have a nutritionist, but she doesn't, I need a trainer. Like what kind of exercises should I be doing? And she's like, I'm not a trainer. And then she goes, your husband told me you have Hashimoto's. Has anybody ever looked at your stool? And I was like, my stool? No. She's like, everything is basically rooted in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know. I was 39, not knowing anything about gut health. So she literally like 6 months later, I was a brand new woman.
Oh my
Yeah.
And
All through nutrition and exercise. That's it.
all through nutrition. So did she have you get more tests done? She obviously checked your stool, all the
Yep.
things, and you kind of went through like her program.
Yep. So we found that I had like gut dysbiosis. I had leaky gut. I had some intestinal permeability, all from just eating inflammatory foods for years and years and years and not seeing it externally, but it was doing a lot of damage internally. And then I had estrogen dominance also because of that. And so through like doing anti-inflammatory, so I have not had gluten, dairy, sugar, or alcohol for a very long time. I went to Europe and did have alcohol and gluten last year. And after that, I was like, I'm not ever again.
Didn't serve you.
Yeah.
Can we back up for 2 seconds? When you were explaining the gut issues, what were the symptoms of that? Like, how did you, or did you not even know? And she just told you, this is what's going on, and this is contributing to you maybe not losing weight or just not feeling your best.
Yeah. So I obviously had weight loss resistance. I couldn't sleep for a year after having my son. I had insane joint pain, like to the point where I remember my son being 10 months old and like I couldn't pick him up. My elbows hurt so bad, like brain fog, very heavy feeling. Those were my main, and I was constipated a lot. This is like basically my whole life. So I knew something was off, but after, looking in my gut and everything and healing that, like everything went away.
And that you attribute to like diet, exercise, mindset. So talk to us a little bit about inflammatory diet, the things that you cut out, why, and how did you do it? Or how do you teach women to do that?
I basically will tell them no gluten, dairy, sugar, or alcohol while you're on the program. And there isn't like, we're going to take this in baby steps, because if something is hurting
your time. Yeah.
We're taking big adult steps towards your health, not like, because you're capable. It's all up here that you think you have to like wean yourself off. Like, absolutely not. So it's like a very like hardcore, put it over here. And that's how I did it. It was all in. It was 100%. I'm giving this 100% of my ability right away. And so that's what I require from my clients as well. And aside from that, we got to eliminate like processed foods. So we stick to whole one ingredient foods as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing with seed oils in them, nothing with gums in it, xanthan gum, guar gum. Those feed the bad bacteria in your gut.
What are those used for?
They're used to thicken. So like to thicken a creamer.
Okay.
They use things like sunflower lecithin in like powders so that they mix better in like, so like my protein powder doesn't have any of that. And you could see like it kind of clumps a little bit, but I'd rather have a clumpy protein than one with sunflower lecithin in it.
Yes. Because that's an inflammatory substance.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And it's basically the way that they process these oils. They have to like pull the oil from the seed. They have to heat it up. They bleach it so that it's not like an ugly brown color. By the time you ingest it, it's like it's chemically
just garbage.
And your body has no idea what to do with it.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the problem is like your body is getting this foreign substance freaking out because it's not something natural.
Correct. And it's also, it's messing with like, I don't like to get too technical because people like when you don't know a word, you like kind of check out, but
yeah, dumb it down for us.
There's these little, like, they call them villi, like little legs. I want you to imagine like all along your digestive tract. And they help to like absorb nutrients when you eat. When you eat inflammatory foods, these things literally die. And so now your body is not only like inflamed, but incapable of absorbing any of the nutrients you need.
Yeah.
It's all so bad. And like my heart breaks when I see people out there that are walking around obese or overweight or that have all these diseases and you know they're in wheelchairs at the age of 50 and it's just like it's all food.
Yeah, it's fucking mind-blowing.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like
and I think a lot of it is a lack of knowledge and knowing. Our parents' generation, for instance, you know, like they're very unhealthy and they don't see that there's all these additives and this extra stuff in food, but they also don't care. But
they don't care.
Yeah.
That's the scariest part is I can give people the knowledge. Like I have an aunt and an uncle who like can barely walk, right? His knee is so inflamed. She's always in pain. And I'm like, listen, just ditch the gluten and the beer that you're drinking and eating every day and see how you feel. She's like, well, no, I want to live my life, Claude. And I'm like, that's living your life in pain and inflamed? Yeah. Like, I will do whatever it takes for me to feel and look my absolute best. Yeah. Don't care.
I agree. I think it's pretty mind-blowing when you see somebody in that situation and they just don't, you know, like it just doesn't connect. And I feel like for people who have changed their life and really gotten healthier, we're all hanging out over here. Like, and I'm always like, just come over. Like, it's so much better over here. Why you're stuck in this hamster wheel of being uncomfortable and not really being satisfied and being negative, like it's so much better over here. Just do the hard work, get it done, and then come over to this side because we're fucking having fun. And like life is so much easier.
So much easier. And you wake up proud of yourself. You wake up. Like,
it feels so good.
And really look in the mirror and like love what you see. Yeah. Even remember what that feels like, you know?
Yeah, you're going to get that dopamine hit. But I think for other people, they're getting that with the quick, you know, like, let me just eat this. And don't get me wrong. Like, I love croissants and all this shit that, and yes, it's delicious.
Who doesn't?
But I don't eat it very often because I don't feel good. And I know that at the end of the day, like for instance, every morning I go to the gym at 5 a.m. or 5:36, somewhere right in there. My alarm goes off every morning. And for 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, do you really need to go? Like, no, you're fine. And then immediately my brain goes, Natalie, you're going to have such a better day if you go to the gym. Like you're going to do so much better at every single task and feel so much better if you go to the gym. And then I get my ass up and I go to the gym.
Yeah, I mean, there's actual like hormones being released during a workout that help you feel better and give you more energy.
Absolutely. I know. I wish we could just bottle this up and just sell it to everybody. Like wouldn't that just be so nice?
Billionaires, because there are people bottling other shit up.
I know. There's lots of things being bottled up. That's a whole nother podcast I'm sure we could get into. So keep going on with your kind of journey. Like you started eating better, you cut out all these things. Tell me how things started getting better. And also two-part, like who did you have to become to get there? Who did you have to leave behind to get to where you are now and who you are? Like, did you have to put up boundaries and check relationships and all of those? Because I experienced that when I made some big shifts in my life. So I'd love to hear your story on that.
Yeah, I mean, I had to start taking care of myself, again. I had to fight off people who were like, that's what you're eating, that cardboard again. And oh, you're not drinking. Oh, how boring. And it was really hard. My family's from Montreal and they moved down the street when I started my healing journey. Actually, we lived with my parents. So when I started, we lived with my parents because we had like no money. We were living in their house. And I was the type of person that could enjoy whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. I could have wine every night. I could have a margarita on Sunday, a hot dog with the family. And there was always wine at every dinner at my parents' house.
Yeah.
And I used to be able to have that. And I couldn't anymore. And when people come to me and they're like, but I'm from like this country and my parents do this and I'm surrounded by people who eat like this. I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched people and drink pizza and Coke and beer and wine and chocolate cake while I was having my very home cooked chicken, rice, and broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to become a woman who chose health over pleasure.
Yeah, you chose yourself.
I chose myself. And it
that
didn't
probably made a lot of people uncomfortable.
Say that again.
That probably made a lot of people uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people feel like they're losing you. And it's like, you are losing that version of me.
Yeah. But I'm still here.
And I'm getting better. And I'm choosing my health. Like, how dare anybody get onto somebody for choosing their health? It's like the most selfish thing you can do to not support someone on their best health journey.
Well, it turns the focus on them and their shit.
Yes.
And then there's a mirror on them. And that's a really uncomfortable and vulnerable place for people to go when they're not ready for it. And you're doing that, it's happening because you're changing yourself.
Yeah.
And people get very uncomfortable with that.
Very, very. And I had found like purpose. Yeah. I'd found purpose. Like I wanted to be healthy. It gave me purpose to be a better person, to learn better ways to eat, to just really level up to that next level of myself. Cause I was like, I am not letting this Hashimoto's beast win and live in this body like that. Yeah. No. Mm-mm. Yeah.
I'd love to hear what your original doctor says now that you are where you're at versus, sorry, you have to take this levothyroxine or whatever that medication is. And that's it. I'll see you in 6 months for a checkup. And again, this is another podcast, but it's really just to like maintain your symptoms, healthcare.
That's it.
It's not to like find the core root or fix the issue. It's just to maintain a symptom and then what symptom will piggyback off that.
Right. I mean, at the very bare minimum, they should say, don't eat gluten.
Mm-hmm.
Gluten.
What is gluten?
Gluten is a protein, right? It's actually a protein, but its chemical makeup is almost identical to the thyroid hormone. So what happens is when you eat it, yes, it inflames your body, but if you have something like Hashimoto's or an autoimmune or whatever, you eat gluten, your body goes into an inflammatory response, which means it starts to attack it to get it out of the body. But while it's attacking the gluten, it will attack your thyroid as well because it can't differentiate what's what. So, like when you're diagnosed with celiac, they're like, oh, yeah, stay away from gluten. Same thing with Hashimoto's, like, same thing with any diabetes, all that stuff. Like, just everybody should be staying away from it.
Yeah.
And it's the way that it's processed nowadays in this country as well, that it's in Europe, they let it ferment for hours, days. So the longer you let it ferment, the less gluten is left like in the grain.
Gotcha.
Makes sense? Like that's why sourdough has a less concentrate of gluten because they ferment it for a long time. In Europe, they do this with all of their grains. They ferment them for a very long time. Here, not even an hour. So you're left with all this stuff with a crap ton of gluten. And it's wreaking havoc on everybody's bodies.
Wow.
Because everybody loves that.
And say that again.
I said, unfortunately, because everybody loves gluten.
Yeah. And would it be the same with sugar and the other things you were talking about? I mean, alcohol, obviously, I already know that. Like, I'm
It's
so
a
shocked
poison.
alcohol's even legal at this point. I mean,
it's a poison.
Yeah, straight up.
Right.
But I guess you could say the same about gluten or about sugar. I mean, honestly, sugar is probably everybody's first addiction. And then that behavior kicks in and then there you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's all the same thing. People try to, I don't know what it is. I mean, they defend it to the death. I've told people alcohol is a toxin. They're like, yeah, but a glass on the weekend is like a fucking needle full of heroin. Okay, once a week. Are you good with that? Because it's the same thing, if not worse.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's very socially acceptable. Whereas like, obviously heroin's very frowned upon, but alcohol is this social accepted. I was just telling my husband this morning about, we have to get stuff for the Easter baskets. And I was like, why is every holiday now like evolved around family getting together, drinking, and then sugar? Like now I feel the pressure to like buy my kids candy and jelly beans and all the crap that I really don't want them to eat. Yeah. But I know if I give them a basket full of Legos and like whatever, they're not going to like that either,
Yeah. I mean, we do the switch witch at Halloween. So like Nova can't eat any of the candy. He'll trade it in for like a Transformer toy.
Yeah.
But there's still very much like a whole thing around gluttonous food and alcohol on holidays and cake at birthdays. And oh my God, it's really hard because it makes your kid so happy and you're like, ugh.
Well, yeah. And you're going to be that mom who doesn't allow your kid to like there's a lot that goes into it. And I'm sure it's probably mentally exhausting for you to live the lifestyle you live in this society, where you're the weirdo, and like all this other stuff is so normal and it's just totally backwards.
So crazy. Like, I don't say anything when, people won't say anything if you walk in with a huge bag of McDonald's and a Coke and a 5-pack of powdered donuts. They're like, oh, wow, that looks good. You're literally killing yourself. Yeah. But I'm eating what I eat and all of a sudden that's weird and that's boring. And it's like, and it is exhausting. And I think when you choose health, you remove yourself from the group pack. You remove yourself from group mentality. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that. But I go to bed at 9 p.m. every day. If somebody wants to go have dinner at 8, that's not happening. And like, I'll just put sparkling water in a wine glass and cheers everybody and be on my merry way. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's hard at first because it's new and it's a loss. It feels like a loss. Like, oh my God, I can't eat and drink the things I have my whole life.
Yeah.
But
You have to grieve that. It is because it's your best friend. It's always there for you, makes you feel better, makes you feel warm and cozy. I remember my grandmother years ago saying cigarettes used to be her best friend and it was so hard to quit. She goes, they were always there. I had one going in every room. It was with every phone conversation. It
yeah.
said before the phone would ring, she would light a cigarette. Like it was, and then to quit it was like to lose something that had been consistently there for you, and you're totally right. It is like grieving the loss of a relationship that you've had with something that obviously towards the end didn't serve you well, but for many years it sounds like you had this like awesome relationship where you could eat anything.
Yeah. And then
I never had that experience. My body was always like, do it, bitch. Let's get fat. Like, eat, do it. Like, I'm ready to get bigger whenever you want, like, so I always had to watch what I ate. But for me, when I quit drinking, that's when it really shifted where I thought about what I was putting into my body for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, oh, I feel better doing this. And I'm not strict like that. I mean, I eat gluten and all the things, but as far as anything from excess or packaged or anything like that, I just don't do it. I don't tolerate it and I won't, sorry, my camera keeps slipping there. And it just doesn't serve me, like you were saying, it just no longer serves a purpose. So why have it in my life?
Why have, the person who is beating you every day or the friend that talks shit to you that makes why have anything toxic in your life?
Mm-hmm. And what about your family and your husband? How has that, I assume you went through these big changes with him. Was he always supportive and on board? Or tell me a little bit about navigating that big change for you while in a relationship.
I mean, first of all, he kept me alive during postpartum. He saved my life during that time. And then when I started to eat and change my whole nutrition, he was not supportive. Now, he didn't stop drinking himself. He didn't stop eating gluten and doing all the things himself. So I was very much like on my own, and that was fine. And then one day he also chose to stop drinking, and he basically eats gluten-free now. We don't really have dairy in the house. He'll have like sour cream and cheese, where like I don't partake in those foods, but he will sometimes.
Yeah. So he was always supportive of the journey that you were on because the commitment was there. It was just the needs were different, I guess.
Yeah. Like he didn't have to. People wait till they are forced to make their health a priority. Hello, I did.
Nobody learns from other people.
No.
Yeah.
I used to make fun of everybody. In LA, there was like this gluten-free movement and all the dancers were like, I don't eat gluten. I don't eat gluten. I was like, eat the fucking gluten. Like all of a sudden everyone's got a gluten allergy.
It is trendy for sure. And I hear that now, like, ooh, everything's gluten-free. I mean, yeah, you get targeted. Like people will talk shit.
Yeah. And I talked shit. And then it was like, oh, this is really a thing. Like I can't have gluten.
Yeah. And with your programming that you're doing, I know you have 2 offers going right now, right? Or you just launched another offer?
Of course. We started it yesterday.
Oh, congratulations. Tell me a little bit about that course and how, tell me how that started.
So that's called the Ultimate Mom Rehab course. And it started because I really feel like there's not a lot of resources for moms out there. Like there's all these things for like women in business and like, but moms, it's like, I don't know. Like you don't see a lot of like events and things for moms. And I was like, hey, I'm going to do a course that's like specifically for moms. And we're going to part of my most recent journey is really finding like my inner feminine and tapping into being still and not being so masculine and like go, go, go and
Yeah.
get up earlier than everyone. Like that's very masculine. And after getting so healthy, Natalie, and losing the weight, reversing my Hashimoto's, I had my implants removed last year. I gained like 12 pounds because and I realized like something's wrong. I eat perfect. I exercise more than anyone I know, and I can't lose weight. Like the scale didn't budge for 7 months.
Yeah.
And it was time for me to kind of like, okay,
Post surgery.
post surgery. But instead of like, it's just like when I had my son, instead of just chilling the fuck out and being still and calm and present, I'm always like, let's go. Let's get my body back. Let's get to working again. Let's get back in the gym. And that's what I did after my surgery. Instead of just really taking the time to be still and let my body heal, I was like forcing it.
Mm-hmm.
And my body pushed back big time. And I got my blood work done. When was this? Like 2 months ago, my TSH levels doubled. And you don't want your TSH levels to double because that means your thyroid is sluggish. And I was like, how have I done all this work? And so with my new course, it's really about the mindset of like, let's get away from mom guilt. Let's get away from putting ourselves last and not taking care of ourselves and feeling like we have to do it all and be this masculine thing. Let's really like learn how to bring pleasure back into our life and joy, because that can also help with weight loss.
Yes. Oh, there's a huge mind and body connection. Absolutely. Yeah. As you know. And so do you think, kind of jumping back to you and your husband's relationship, do you think now that you're trying to like jump into this more feminine role, it's going to give him the opportunity to be more in a masculine role in your relationship or in your life or as a business partner or whatever, that he plays for you? Like, is it going to allow him to like step into that and do that for you, since you were so used to, it seemed like, being independent and doing it on your own and let's go and being like your biggest supporter? Is it going to give him time or space to shine now?
Yes. And that is definitely like the goal of that, because I realized that by me taking the reins of like starting my business, I put him in this more feminine role because I needed the time to focus on my business. So he was doing all the things that like, and my thing is I really refuse to like agree with the gender roles. And this year I got like smacked in the face where there really truly are. And if I expect a man to be a man and protect me and look a certain way and be strong and fit and provide, well, what does that mean? Then I have to be a woman.
Yeah.
By me being such a man all the time, and I mean controlling finances, controlling everything, he had no choice but to like step back and be in his feminine. So now we're making the transition where I'm taking back my more feminine responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually cooking breakfast and making my son his lunch and taking him to school, and remembering that my biggest job is being a mom, not this other stuff that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I love doing that, but my biggest job is my son.
And how did you come about seeing that and knowing you needed to make that switch?
It was like a multitude of things.
Mm-hmm.
It was my church. It was reading the Bible. Like I never read the Bible. And this year, all of a sudden, like intuitively, it was like, oh, you should open the Bible, like read it. And my friend does like a Bible study on YouTube every morning, and she like breaks it down so that it makes sense.
Yeah.
And kind of like I started noticing like my coach was like, why are you so alpha, Claude? And I was like, something is happening. And then my business mentor, Bedros, he talks a lot about why women are so in their masculine now. And I would just fight him all the time. Like, you're wrong, Bedros, you're wrong. And it, like, slowly but surely, I was like, it was like opening my eyes. Like, maybe what I'm doing is not what I'm supposed to do. And now my body is telling me so.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started also like kind of noticing more feminine women and how they float around. And I was like, that's really nice. She always has her hair done very nice. There's something really amazing about that energy. And I don't have any of that really.
Yes.
And so just intuitively, I started listening to that. And I was like, I need to, like, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
So I literally called my husband and I was like, babe, I'm going to do this, so you can focus on that. Like, I've always been so tough, Natalie.
Yeah.
And you can't be in a relationship with a man and try to be tough. They're going to want to fight you.
Yeah.
And we're not made to carry this burden as women. Your body will tell you so. Yeah. And so softening. I like did a retreat a few weeks ago where we did breath work. And if this was me like 4 months ago, Natalie, I would have laughed and been like, I am not doing this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a dude. I don't cry. Like, I don't want to be at all women events. This was me. And then I forced myself to do that this year. And it was like the most amazing experience. And the lady who led the breathwork session was like, soften. It's okay. Like, let go. And I was like, okay. But it's so hard when you've just been this way.
Yeah.
Your whole life.
I know how you feel 110%. How was going to that retreat and being with all women and being obviously a little outside of your comfort zone and like being vulnerable in a group? How was that? Someone who's so kind of guarded or tough or like, I can do it. I've got this. Like, like I've done this on my own. How was it like letting other people in and be vulnerable?
The thought of it was not easy. And it's hard at first because when I first walk in the room and there's all these women and it's things that like I've made fun of my whole life. Things they're talking about, the way they're talking. And I'm just like, I'm not like that. Like, just put me around a bunch of dudes, please. I prefer what they talk about. I prefer like just the way the energy is. And I was like, Claude, stop. My eye twitching. Like, just stop. And like, open your heart, let go of the fucking armor and just like enjoy these women for who they are. Mm-hmm. And it really was, after I put my guard down and just allowed myself to enjoy the moment, it was 3 days. It was like it was an amazing experience. And I felt myself shift, but it's not something that just happens like that, like I see it, I accept it, but now I have to like really implement it every day in my life when new things come up where I want to naturally react in a masculine way.
Yeah.
And I have to be like, oh, wait, don't do that.
Change is hard. And to put yourself, it's a daily practice. It's a daily thing. Yeah. Whereas like, for instance, for you with food and those things, it was very black and white and very probably easier for you to do that because it was this or that and there was no gray. Whereas being feminine and sitting in your emotions and feelings is not, it's all gray and it's all about being vulnerable. And so it's just, and again, I think for me, like once you get over to that spot and you have both and you're trying to balance them, you will be more like, come over here too. It's so great over here as well, like, because you don't have to be on guard all the time.
Right. And that is exhausting. And it did start to have a negative effect on my relationship, because that's not what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And I bet you're going to see your husband just step up in this incredible way you didn't even know could happen. The thought of it never existed in your mind.
Yeah, not at all.
And that's going to be something
another thing is
beautiful.
like trusting that is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting, like, if I let go, like, is the ship going to sink?
It's trusting your intuition and your gut versus fact and common sense and like what you know.
Yeah.
And the mind is a tricky place, and I think it'll be fun. I definitely follow you online, and I think it's going to be exciting to watch you transition and go through and just evolve into the next season of who you are. Because knowing what I know from your Instagram and just meeting you now and shared experiences between my friend who was enrolled in your program, like, you're transformational, and I think that you're going to keep on doing that and going through these different versions. And it's exciting to watch. It's exciting to just watch people flourish and do good and like feel fucking great about it.
Yeah. It's scary because at some point you're like, God, like, am I done evolving somehow? Like all of a sudden now I'm tapping into this feminine and I'm being called back to like my sensual dancing that I used to do. And I used to coach a lot of dancers on like, we have the power of the vagina. And like I kind of stopped. And now it's like pulling me back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting, but it's also like, can't I just like stick to one thing, or like figuring out like how to incorporate it with, because I love helping women lose weight. I mean, there is nothing, and like get their hormones balanced and feel better than they have in so long. Like that is amazing. But my whole program was based on a very masculine approach. So here I am now making shifts, and you're like, who am I? And I wanted to say too, Natalie, like when I did like the whole nutrition stuff with
Mm-hmm.
like when I made that shift for myself, somebody gave me a plan. Rachel said, you're going to eat this, at breakfast, lunch, dinner. Here's how much, here's what you're going to stay away from. So it was easy. I just had to follow it.
Yeah.
When it comes to this feminine thing, like no one's being like, here's what you're going to do, Claude. Like I have to like really intuitively listen to myself and trust that that's the right thing to do, and like really get out of here and be like strategic, because that's very masculine still.
Yeah. I think for me, I had to get a coach and guidance when I kind of stepped down and out of that masculine place. And it's still, over the years, but to really be vulnerable and heal, I had help. I had people like you were saying, how you coach women and this, and it's very black and white. Whereas people serve these things to me and they're just little bits, like it wasn't this huge transformation like you're used to helping women with. When you grow the heart and create inner peace, it's these small little bits at a time. Whereas you're used to going 200 miles an hour on a freight train.
Yeah.
Which
all here. Like all here. Okay, what's my next big move? Like, what do I got to do today? To-do list, like duck, 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 like so tactical.
Yeah. Well, it's a very comfortable place because you're nailing it. Like you're killing it doing that. Yeah. So I think for the next version of you, you're going to be a baby again, like you got to figure it out all over again. And this is probably going to be more uncomfortable and then so on and so forth for the next step.
Yes, exactly.
And I am grateful for all of those moments, for myself, for you, for anybody else that goes through big transformations. It's fucking awesome. And it's exciting to watch people go through that and actually do really well. I would say it's just a daily practice of little changes that you want to make. And then it just becomes a habit like anything else.
Yeah.
And then this balance between all the things.
all the things.
I wanted to ask you one question. I'd love, and this, the answer may be no, but is there any takeaways guests that are listening could take away from this? Just if somebody's kind of wanting to tiptoe into hormones and weight loss and maybe an autoimmune or just wanting to feel the best versions of themselves, where could they start? Or what could be a few things they could do to just dip their toe in and start to see how life could be when they really start to transform? Or is your ideology all or nothing?
Yeah, like fuck dipping your toe, man. If you're suffering, like just dive in.
Mm-hmm. And how would somebody dive in? Like, what would be their first step? And also, what would be their symptoms to know that they need to do that?
So if you're a woman and you're bloated, you're tired, you have no energy, you have trouble sleeping, you have irregular cycles, if you have bad cramps, like bad period symptoms, like all of that is not normal. If you are having trouble losing weight, you feel like you've tried everything and nothing's working, all of that is not normal. And so I challenge everyone who is listening to really pay attention to their body. All of those things are like signals, like warning, 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 something needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And that something is not Ozempic and that something is not going to the doctor.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm going to say like, come to me because you can, I tried to do it by myself for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And you can't fix what you don't know. And Google's not going to have the answer for you. But it all just starts with nutrition. So if anybody tells you different, don't listen to them.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think nutrition and mindset. I mean, when you say like I've tried everything, I don't believe people when they say that. I feel like I spoke with a dietitian yesterday and I asked her like, would you treat anybody different if they were postpartum, if they were older, younger, had this symptom or diabetic or whatever it is? And she said, when it comes to nutrition, no, everybody is the same. I would start everybody the same. I wouldn't treat anybody different.
Mm-mm.
It would just be the same basis of basically like carbs, fat, and protein.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah. Macros and eliminating the inflammatory foods.
And do you think there's a lot of inflammatory foods? Like, is this hidden in everything?
Everything.
Like processed, all of that.
Everything.
What about non-processed foods?
Like
Vegetable protein, just, like everything basically like on the outer aisle of the grocery store is kind of how I see it.
I mean, there's all this stuff about what they spray the vegetables with and the fruit and the meat and the this. You want to definitely choose like the best quality, the most probably expensive choice of meat that you can find. But like the reason why things like keto and I do clean keto, I don't do regular keto because we do like healthy fats, not cheese and bacon and all that stuff. But keto, carnivore, paleo, whatever, those things work because you're eliminating all the shit.
Yeah.
And for the most part, carbs. So the problem with a lot of Americans is they have eaten so many carbs all day long. They're not using that energy. Now you're becoming insulin resistant because your poor little insulin receptors are working so much that now, so when you just remove carbs from somebody's diet who's like suffering from whatever and can't lose weight and they're obese, life changing.
And carbs, bread.
Well, anything, sweet potato, all of it, any starch.
Yeah. Gotcha. And berries and all of those, is fruit considered carbs?
Yeah. But so on clean keto, you could still do like low sugar berries.
Mm-hmm.
And you could still eat veggies. Like even broccoli has some carb count, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about like starches, right? So
Gotcha.
rice, quinoa, and you don't really have any fruit other than low sugar berries, and it's a very small amount.
Gotcha. And I assume with most people, it's a trial and error. Like if they don't tolerate something, or I assume like your programming is flexible with that, or no? Is that like if somebody didn't like something or it,
I don't care what you like. You want to heal and feel better, then you listen to what I tell you to eat because they don't know. Like if I had been like Rachel, my functional nutritionist, like, I don't like that. It's not about what you like right now. What you liked got you to where you are.
yeah,
So it's really that mindset shift of right now, it's about healing and fueling my body. It's not about a party in my mouth and things that I necessarily enjoy at the moment.
yeah,
Purpose over pleasure. You want to lose weight, then you choose that purpose over pleasure. And it doesn't mean it has to be like that forever, but you have to do it long enough to get that shit out of your body, for your body to learn how to use the new foods that you're eating. Like I have clients sometimes who will be like, my stomach hurts, it's been 3 weeks on these new foods. And I'm like, do you think that eating more protein, that eating avocado and olive oil and ghee and fresh fruit and vegetables is what's causing your stomach ache? When you're coming from eating carbs and processed foods and sugar, you think that's what's causing your stomach ache?
mm-hmm.
So for me, it's not necessarily can people tolerate it, because everybody's body is going to be very thankful for removing inflammatory foods. What you're going to experience, though, is bacteria die off, which is going to hurt your stomach.
Uh-huh.
You're going to experience headaches, dizziness. It's like it's detox.
The flush. Okay, gotcha. So that is why the stomach is hurting.
There's literally, when you stop feeding the bad bacteria with the gluten, the sugar, the dairy, the gums, the things, it's dying. And that can cause a lot of discomfort in the stomach. Cramping, diarrhea, constipation, headaches, like all of that is normal.
It all starts with the gut.
And it all starts with the gut. Like if you see someone detoxing from drugs, like it's not pretty. And detoxing from sugar is worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think people expect it to be like this beautiful thing. And it's sometimes like your poor body.
Detox fucking sucks, regardless of what it is. It's not an easy thing to do. The word detox isn't pretty. It's not cute. It doesn't sound warm and cozy. It sounds shitty. It sounds hard.
Yes.
For me, I'm a person who dives into hard. I'm like, ooh, that's a struggle. I should do that more. Like that's just how my mind has always been.
Yeah.
But for somebody, I could see how easily you could put a wall up to that and be like, that's uncomfortable. I'm not going to go there, and talk yourself out of it. I mean, our brain absolutely love to do that. And again, it's all addiction. It could go back to addiction. It's sugar, all of that is totally addiction. And do you think that can play a role in like reproductive and like women vaginal health, the bacteria there, and like all of that? Like, is that connected
All of it.
to that as well?
All of it. Yes. Our hormone health, the reasons why your hormones are imbalanced is the gut.
Gotcha.
They don't
help with that as well.
Yeah. Like anxiety, depression, there is a gut brain barrier. So if your gut is inflamed, your brain is inflamed.
Mm-hmm.
You're drinking alcohol, you're killing brain cells. You're like messing with the white matter in your brain, which is like communication. And there's just so much damage being done all over the map. And imbalanced hormones is just a symptom of an underlying cause.
Say that one more time.
Imbalanced hormones is a symptom of an underlying cause.
Mm-hmm.
So you always have to ask yourself, like, why? So functional nutrition addresses the why. Doctors address the how, right? Or the what. What's happening? Oh, here. We want to know why. Okay, well, why are your estrogen levels so high? Why is your testosterone so low? Why do you have really bad PMS and irregular cycles? Why can't you sleep? It's not just like, oh, you can't sleep. Here's this this medicine or medication. You have to really be like, why? Why am I bloated all the time? I notice I'm bloated after I eat such foods. Don't go take something to relieve the bloating and then continue to eat it. Just stop eating that thing.
Yeah. Listen to your body. I think if we slow down and listen to the body, God, I feel like we should be teaching our kids this, like
Yes. Yeah.
there should be a connection with that. And obviously I'm sure you're doing this with your son, and after this conversation today, I'll be doing it with both of my kids. But listening to your body and trusting your gut. I've always been a person who's always trusted my intuition. My gut never steers me wrong. It always tells me right from wrong, or whether it's going to work or not, or what to do, but not my actual gut. You know what I mean?
Right. Our intuition is really found in our vagina, not in the gut. Our power as women is the power of, it's like source. That it's the portal to life on this planet. It's a beautiful thing. And a lot of women are very disconnected from it because we've been told to shut it off. It's too much. Don't be too this. Don't be too sexy. Don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And so we just shut that part of ourselves off. But it's actually our intuition is rooted in that power source that is the vagina.
Yeah. So power of the pussy isn't just a saying.
Power of the pussy is not just a saying. No, it is. And I used to say that all the time to my dancers, like, and so saying hi to her, getting reconnected to her, like looking at her, like being in communication, because it's like there's a book called Pussy, A Reclamation of. You guys should all read it. It's by Regina Thomasauer, I think is how you say her name. And there's like these rituals like in Japan where women will like flash their vaginas and they're taking back like ownership of it because it's been so controlled by men for so long. And how we should be using it and whatever. It's like mind blowing. I'm like, we are so powerful. And where did that go?
Yeah.
Our radiance and our knowingness. So you're right. Like intuition is not the gut. It's like literally
vagina. It's the brain down there.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Thank you so much for all of this. I want you to let my listeners know where they can find you, where are you hanging out, what your offers are, and just, I want you to plug, especially your new program, because it sounds like that's something really fun that you're getting into and you seem very excited about it. And it's a new direction. So tell the audience a little bit about where they can find you and what you've got going on.
So you guys can find me on Instagram. That's where I hang out the most, at Glow Up with Claude. And registration and like the course is now closed. So it's a 3-month course and we started yesterday. So you want to maybe be looking out for the next time. But in the meantime, I still offer a group program that's either 6 months or 12 months. And it's all things functional nutrition. I do your macros. I tell you exactly what to eat at breakfast, lunch, and dinner and how much. I give you my approved food list, a full weight training program. We didn't touch a lot on that, but ladies, stop doing cardio and build a muscle.
Who does cardio? God.
So many people still do cardio, but we want to build muscle. Like I'm super jacked, but like, we want more muscle as we age.
Yeah.
For like sex drive, testosterone, that stuff.
Oh yeah. The bigger, the better, like I want to strangle an intruder with my thighs, like that's how big I want them to be.
Yes. And the more muscle you can have, the more you can eat because they're literally like a drain for glucose. Anyways, so you get a full weight training program. We do a group coaching call every Saturday. And that's ongoing. So you can join that and become part of that group called the Glow Getters anytime you're ready, which I hope is right now.
Okay, gotcha. And I'll put all of that in the show notes and your Instagram handle and all the things that people need to know to get a hold of you, because I think, and I've seen it offhand with my friend who joined your program and has had a big glow up. like she's done some big shit that I'm really proud of. So I've seen that it works. You and I are on that same kind of mindset. So I'm definitely a fan. And I just want to thank you for stepping up and knowing that you were meant for something bigger than just yourself and your life, and checking your ego, and coming out and serving others. Cause I think we need more women like you who are willing to stand up and basically say, if you don't like something, fucking change it. I just, no excuses, and nobody's going to get any of this like hand holding from you. It's very direct. And I think there's a lot of people out there who need that. So thank you for showing up in that way.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. And yeah, I think it's just about finding and remembering how powerful you are.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm holding your hand, you'll never discover the power that you have, what you're capable of. So
yeah, your mom can be your enabler, not your coach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You got to want it on your own. You got to believe you can get it, and you can have whatever health, body, life you dream of. Like,
yeah.
for real, I am a walking testimony of that.
Yeah, absolutely.